take now general comments from the audience. If you have a comment, please raise your hand. Address it to the council. There's a 3-minute time frame. And again, I would just ask that your comments be directed to the council, and that we refrain from any personal, either names, attacks, etc., etc.
Billy Howard, Newburgh, New York. I pass this out to each one of you in reference to what was in the newspaper on Friday. It really saddens my heart that that wasn't on the agenda this evening about the young lady who had got visited by a police dog. But City Manager McGrain.
To the council.
Okay, to the council.
To the council.
I met with your city manager several times regarding that specific officer, Baxter. And I made her aware.
To the city council.
I'm talking to the city council about their employment, okay? Thank you. And I made her aware of what was going on with how this officer was harassing my son, Omari. So much to the point that I was a nervous wreck. And this has been a good while ago. But I just want to leave you with this. Because it says, but it's a mistake to blame the dogs. They do what they are trained for, or are mistrained to do. The real culprits are bad handling, bad training, and bad policy making. For things to change, it's the two-footed cops who have to be held accountable. This evening, I'm asking you that you would consider putting together a civilian review board for the city of Newburgh that will have subpoena powers. This is what we need in this community. This is what we want in this community. And hopefully, this is what we'll get in this community. It's nice to see what you did here this evening for the young people regarding African American History Month. But I'm tired of being hoodwinked in this community because you give us that little bit of acknowledgement, but the major things that should be acknowledged, and that is police brutality, high rents, and all the other things that we've discussed, nothing's being done. And some people might have a problem with that, but I was born and raised here, and I've seen it for too many years. And also, that garbage that's on that Boyd website in reference to the people who are talking out against that, to that, you know, I say to you, and I know some of you are in this room this evening, may God have mercy on you.
Yeah, just to
Give you a name and an address, please.
Bar, 87 Curtis Place, Austin, New York. Two pieces of history. One is about a group that was called the Deacons for Defense, 1964, Jonesboro, Louisiana. A group of African American men in Jonesboro, Louisiana, led by Ernest Chilly Willie Thomas and Frederick Douglass Kirkpatrick, founded the group in November of 1964 to protect civil rights workers against the violence of the Ku Klux Klan. Most of them were war veterans with combat experience from the Korean War and World War II. The Jonesboro chapter later organized the Deacons chapter in other places in Louisiana, one led by Charles Sims, A.Z. Young, and Robert Hicks. Jonesboro chapter initiated a regional organizing campaign and eventually formed 21 chapters in Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. The militant Deacons' confrontation with the Klan in Bogalusa was instrumental in forcing the federal government to intervene on behalf of the black community and enforce the 1964 Civil Rights Act against the Klan. It's the first piece of history. The second is detailed in a movie that's airing on cable right now that I recommend everyone on the City Council watch. And it's called Four Little Girls by Even the leaders of the peaceful civil rights movement from the Southern Christian Leadership Conference were dragged to the door of violent response by the murder of their children at that time. Reverend James Pavel from the Southern Christian Leadership Conference of all places and his then wife revealed that they considered two options at the time after the bombings that killed the 4 children. This is a matter of record which I am merely reporting to you. The first option was to find out who killed their children and see to it that they were killed. The second option was to fight for the right to vote and use political power to protect their children and get justice for them. Here in the city of Newburgh, as I've been watching over the last year and reporting on it for WBAI, it appears to me and to the people that I've been speaking with and have been listening that the religious leaders in the black and brown communities in this community have opted for a third option. They apply for funding to the same people that sit atop the violence against the community. This city is at a point when the leadership of the Newburgh religious community is indistinguishable from the leadership of a colony of lemmings. It's time for these so-called leaders to either act or step aside, and for the people to put down their fear and open their eyes and protect the children. The last thing that I have to say is this. The Working Families Party was involved in local regional politics in the last election, decisively. Partly decisively by their decision to reverse their earlier decision and not endorse Lily Howard, who was the only person that spoke to these issues that ran for mayor last year. That party holds a very heavy responsibility. Number one, will the local city council member who received their endorsement act to put a stop to police violence against the community? Or does she favor the status quo?
Thank you.
Will the county committee?
Thank you.
And will the state?
Thank you. Vicki?
As a black man who has 5 daughters, this attack on this young black woman is outrage. It's outrage in more than one capacity. When you're allowed to rape a child of her beauty and then have it displayed publicly, I wanted to hear that she had her hands on the police officer's hair, she had a knife or a gun. I did not hear that. I was raised in Newburgh. I was a PAL YMCA Salvation Army kid. Officer McKee was a hero kid. He trained me. I boxed and fought for Newburgh, baseball, and the CWA and PAL track team was pistol team. Always supported. I've taught in over 5 police academies in Newburgh County, Newburgh, and for the Orange County Sheriff Department. This is a disgrace. I don't know how you wear a swastika or a KKK or a Coward's medal next to a police uniform that also has an American flag on it. I'm also outraged that this place is not packed with parents. This is my daughter. When you're packed in the slave ship, and if you can think back to when you were packed in the slave ship as black men, everybody's your daughter, everybody's your child. This assassination of this child is my child, and I'm totally offended by it. Thinking back to 44 years ago, 1965, February 14th was this time of year, Malcolm X spoke to a group of people who was asked, why do the people hate the government in Detroit? Why do they hate it so bad? You will be hated for this. You are the person who hated. Malcolm X's comment was, how do you hate the root? The root of the black community, most times, as a police officer, if you cannot hate the root unless you hate the tree. You are the tree spawning these roots that are attacking this child. I don't care about what happened before nor after. I cannot stand here as a black man, allow you to rape our children of their decency, dignity, and their beauty, and say that this is business as usual. Floyd McKissick spoke at the first Black Power Conference in Nashville, Tennessee, which I attended. He said, one thing we must remember, we have no long-time friends and long-time enemies. We will hate you. There are people here I work for, in business with, and love. I will hate you. I will teach myself to hate you. I will pray that prayer of Proverbs and that says, teach my hand to fight. Teach my hand to kill, to save my children. Now, there's a place, a fictional place, that's all over the South, known as Chicken and Switch. That's where black people can't walk the streets. They were raped and mugged. When I went down to North Carolina, first time by myself without my parents, my mother taught me a poem. She said, way down yonder in Chiplin Switch, a nigga ain't nothing but a son of a bitch. And don't you forget it, boy.
Thank you, Nick.
You have Chiplin Switch Newburgh right now.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Good evening, Tom Williams, 165 Granite Street. I don't know much about this incident, but to me, it brings back the master plan where there is no mention of fire or police. It's my understanding that a budget of $55 million, police get 15, fire department gets 8, and we're not doing anything. I grew up in New York City, and I remember when Giuliani came into office, and he was colorblind. And we had TNT out on the streets, and the streets were clean within a matter of years. I work in construction, I do historic restorations and such. I leave my house very early, and I see on the streets Lander, Chambers, Johnston, I see the same stuff I saw here 10 years ago. Nothing has changed, and we're not addressing that with the police department. This is a shame. I'm sorry, I don't know what's happened, but this is this is horrible. Now, I will get on with other things. I have my concerns about the master plan as far as the development and the concerns about the tax base. If we give these affordable housing, and sure, people make less money. We have a low median income here. But are they going to pay the same taxes that the person next door is going to pay? Because if they're not, how are we going to pay for the facilities and everything that they mentioned? We need money in this city. The developers, they should be levied to help fix up the impoverished areas, the blighted areas. You know, forget about affordable housing on the waterfront. You know, let's fix up the ghetto. All right, I'm tired of seeing the ghetto. I grew up in a ghetto. I moved to Beacon 15 years ago. It was a ghetto. We fixed that up, and now I bought a house in Newburgh, and you raise my taxes 300%, and I'm living in a ghetto. Last night, I left my homeowners association meeting. And I came home to my house across the street, and my wife said, you know, something weird happened. I heard somebody banging on the driveway gate, and she walked outside, and there was a pocketbook with $250 in it. And I said, well, you better call the police. And sure enough, there was a robbery from a woman on William Street, and she got her bag taken and thrown over my fence. And I am appalled. I have to pay $10,000 a year in this city to live like that? That's a joke, okay? The fees for the water of the adjoining towns west of us, they pay a fraction of what we're paying for. We have to address that. We have to address separation of sewer and water because every municipality in the country that's up to date does not dump their stormwater into the sewer drains. All right, we're gonna develop more sewer transfer stations out on the waterfront, on our coastal properties, and what's that going to? How much property is that going to? How much tax base is that going to take away? How much is that going to cost us?
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Omar, did you ever hear it? No. Up to you. Okay.
Excuse me, Barbara Smith-Howell out in Newburgh. Sorry, but so many things I wanted to talk about tonight, but one of them is very pressing because of the last conversation, and it has to do with safety in the streets. And there's one thing that sits out in my mind very clearly, and it was an article in the newspaper, the last statement that was made by the policeman with regard to the dog issue is that he knew that he was going into an area that was not very friendly to policemen. It's not exact wording, but that was the gist of the ending of that newspaper article. Now my question is, if we know that we are going into an area that is not friendly to our police department, Why haven't we done something about that area before the policemen have to go into that area? Why are we so reticent when it comes to inviting people like Curtis Lewa to come here to buffer the zone and to add people to an area to smooth out and become the emissaries of peace within neighborhoods? Why do we reject that? I don't understand it. Number two, there are forms here that I dug out that I was looking at. What is a citizen's complaint and compliment form? What is this committee, and can this committee be beefed up to become your citizens' complaint review board? Can you use the same group of people that you have elected or grouped together as caring citizens of the city to do both jobs? We need stopgap measures. We have got to stop being firefighters in the city. We have to start preventing things from happening. After it's happened, it is too late. There are too many hard feelings. We're constantly in the business of firefighting. The last firefighting issue I don't want to have to deal with is the issue that was in a newspaper about something that happened in another city with regard to safety in our community halls. What are we doing about that? The last time I stood up here, I said to you, what's in it for me? When I ask you what's in it for me, I don't really mean what's in it for me. I mean what's in it for us, the people who support this whole kit and caboodle. What's in it for us? Why do I have to argue about what is the cost to get something that protects us all? I don't need anything fancy schmancy. All I need is this that I have been waving at you for 2 years that says rules of conduct within our groupings. You tell me that it's out there to be approved and passed. Why not just pass it, sit someone at a desk, point to the sign, and says, this is our hall, it's a hall of peace, we will not tolerate anything in it other than peace.
Thank you, Barbara.
And those of you who do not wish to abide by it, there are other things that say, this is what you have to deal with if you do not abide by the laws.
Thank you,
Thank
Barbara.
you. Each at your time.
Charlie Decker with 7 Waller Ave, Ossipee, New York. I have one quick question about resolution number 25. How come the planning board isn't a lead agency? Most communities, it's the planning board. They have the expertise. I've just been wondering why.
Okay, we'll get you that answer at the end of the council meeting.
I had the privilege to work with Lily Howard on her campaign. Unfortunately, it was kind of stolen from her. But one thing that did happen was a young man drove by on his bike one night. He was about 14 years old, and he pulled up his pant leg, and he said, I wanted to show you this. And he had scars up and down his legs from dog bites. I also just want to get this up. This is a blow-up of the picture that's in the paper, and I think everybody really needs to see this close up, because it's terrifying. For old people, it must bring up pictures, thoughts of the Holocaust and Gestapo. That's all I can say. I find this absolutely terrifying.
Omari Tariq Shakur, head of New Voters Movement in New Paltz.
Like that picture you just showed, like Ms. Barbara just said, we try to prevent a lot of things. This could have been prevented. You know, statewide, this could have been prevented. In 2004, when they appointed this police chief,
We said that there would be problems in our community because this police chief got away with a murder in 1990 when he killed Curtis McMillan. That was in December 2004. We went to a meeting, a city council meeting, and we opposed the police chief because we felt he wasn't appointed in the proper manner. But we know why now, but a lot of stuff I can't discuss now because I have a federal lawsuit against the same officer, Robert Baxter, but I'm going to say a little bit of my case because In January of 2005, Mr. Joe Williams from Mount Vernon was beat up by the same officer, Robert Baxter, and some other officers. We came to the city council meeting, we spoke on it. That was in January. March, G.I.K. Jones was killed. We spoke about it. May 2005, I was beat up by the same officer. I'm not going to go into detail, but we spoke to the city manager, the person who appointed this police chief, and we told her about this problem. They supposed to have some meetings around the city about it, but nothing came about it. Then there was another incident where a man whose wife had been shot, he was at work and he came home, and this officer, Robert Baxter, was at his door. And because the man didn't have ID, they beat this man down in his own house. That's another lawsuit. They knew about it. After that, we get to Nathaniel Cobb, Robert Baxter, clear to that. But they knew about that. They knew about this officer because of what we had been coming to the city council meetings. And the city manager know I had sat down with her in the last 8 to 10 months. I have sat down with her 3 or 4 times where people have brought to her office where this man has threatened them and he has put in complaints. Now, let's go back to this right here. Wednesday, I was walking down William Street with my dog. I was on my way to pick my girlfriend up for lunch at her job. And there was 2 cops on the corner of William Street and West Perimeter. As I walked past, the police dog in the car started barking at my dog. I was pulling my dog, and I made comments to the dog like, oh, damn, dog's not going to get out or something. But Robert Baxter was on that corner, and he basically said, Brandon, you keep walking. Me and him got into a verbal conversation, and basically I left him with, I see you in court. And he told me, you have to make it to the court. That's what kind of mentality we're living in. And I put it in the book, and I didn't put it in there on Wednesday because I didn't think about it, but when I woke up and seen this paper Friday, I said, maybe if I would have said something Wednesday, I didn't know this lady had already been bit, but maybe if we say something. But it's not that the city manager don't know because I have been bringing numerous people down here about Robert Baxter. And she knows about this.
Thank you, Warren.
Yeah, thank you. And I would like the community to understand that they know about this problem and they could have prevented this.
Thank you.
Good evening, our mayor and city manager and our city council. I'm not one. Let me just tell you who I am.
Dr. Jones, any name and address? I'm sorry.
I am Reverend Doctor tonight. Reverend Doctor. Usually I'm just Doctor. I'm Reverend Dr. Vanilla Jones, representing the Black Ministerial Fellowship of Newburgh and vicinity. I usually sit here and I'm not ever short for words, but I like to listen and take in. This morning my phone was ringing off the hook because I am the representative for the ministers, yes, the preachers in the city, and we do have some good preachers. I am very, very, very concerned about the situation with the dogs. I have owned and lived with 3 German Shepherds. They do and did not play. You know, I think we really need to, and I'm going to suggest that we develop city council and mayor and city manager, and I'm going to start an initiative towards some kind of civilian review board. I'm going to start the initiative, and I'm authorized through the fellowship. I'm going to start the initiative because this is getting ridiculous. You know, that could be just about anybody, any 2 girls fighting on the street. I've never been in a fight in my life. I am not that physical. I use my mouth. But you know what? That could be anybody that would have gotten bitten. I mean, I don't know the stories, and the truth is the light. But I'm saying, you mean to tell me 2 policemen, 2 officers in the law, they had to sick the dog?
It was more than that. It was more than 2 years.
To break up a fight between 2 women, it's out of hand.
Yes, sir. Well, it's never happened in the white city.
2 Please don't let them throw me off of here with my next minute, Omari. Let me have my minute. We have got to do something, because you know what? I want to feel safe. There is a very bad climate developing here in Newburgh. I want to feel safe when I walk into my city hall. I don't want what people, you know, don't push folk up against the wall. We're all vulnerable in here. I want to walk in and walk out. I don't want what happened somewhere else. My mama taught me prevention is better than cure. We got to do something. This is serious. I don't like the energy level, the vibrations that I'm picking up on the street. We have got to do something.
Timothy Hayes, 117 Landry Street. I talked to Gene and Green a few years ago about this. None of this is new, and we got more problems coming. You know, y'all got these fake leaders up in here. They're not hitting the street, so if you're talking to them, they're not giving you what you're supposed to get. You know what I'm saying? We got a lot of problems coming up, and ain't nobody doing it. All they're doing is sicking dogs on people and abusing people. Something got to be done, man. Something really got to be done. I didn't want to say that. You forced me up here on the microphone. I'm telling you again, it's going to be real ugly when it warm up if you don't do your job. You can't run around here beating up people because you want to, because they're black. Talk about you fear the neighborhood. If you fear the neighborhood, don't get on the police force. Right. You know, you got to fear if you don't protect others or none of them. You can't pick and choose who you want to protect. Come in our neighborhood and cook
stepfather. I've been out on the streets addressing this issue, considering Robert Baxter and the police brutality. I've been speaking towards the mayor. Where is our mayor to address these issues concerning this police officer? It's time that something be done about the police brutality in this city, because you have innocent police officers on the force that's standing in the way of being harmed because of the bad police officers. You have police officers on the force that don't want to stand next to a bad police officer. We have to rid our city of bad police officers before more innocent people are hurt. It's time that something be done. And I'm tired of him riding through the street. When he sees me, he slows his car down like, hey, we killed your son. I killed your son. I'm tired of it. So do something about it, because the people are tired of it.
Thank you, sir.
Marion Perkash Galloway Avenue. I saw the pictures in the paper, listening to all the comments. I don't know that every incident belongs lumped in, everything is exactly the same. It happens. But there has been things going on. And it seems to me that they have to be addressed in some way, shape, or form. I keep looking and thinking every time something like this happens, I keep thinking dealing with a bunch of lawsuits. And everybody's got their heads buried in the sand. Right? Like if I don't see it, it's going to go away. As long as you have your head buried in the sand, something's going to come up behind you and bite you in the rear end. I just, you know, you get this sense that we have to deal with it one way or the other and address it. Come together, look at the problems. Is it a problem? Is it a problem? Was something right, done correctly? Was something in this instance not done correctly? But we can't put our heads in the sand like Wall Street is, and that's all they're thinking. Things happen, and nobody says anything, and nobody caught in, and nobody makes a comment about it. And if you don't say anything or don't look at it, it's going to go away. Well, it's not going away, and it's getting more and more frustrating. It's whether we come up here again, about police brutality, when we come up here about another issue that we just keep coming up and talking about, and answering questions about, and you don't get answers, and you don't get answers. The public gets frustrated, no matter what the issue might be. Somebody comes up and points out the water bill all the time, and nobody talks to them about it. There's a frustration. And I said, you're the elected officials, the people in power. People come to you. People don't want to be vigilantes. By nature, none of us want to be a posse. We want the people who are elected, the people in power, to address our problems. It's all that people something altogether different. The taxi cab ordinance, I had sent you all an email, and I'm hoping that when you look at this again, I address the question that there might be some incentive in there to encourage the taxi cab companies to look to have new type vehicles, hybrid vehicles, so on, etc. It's something we talk about in the master plan. We're doing this now, so you need to have something in place in this document now because the master plan won't be in place. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Karen Dia, City of Newburgh. Just a quick comment on the police issue that we're talking about. It's around leadership. Wondering what type of community outreach to recruit members of the community to become part of the police force. That's something that should be looked at. I support the idea of having a civil complaint review board. I think that's necessary and it's crucial and it should be done within the next, like yesterday. And there's just everything. We should be leading through example. Like the council should be leading through example. There's this thing called 3 strikes you're out that's applied to civilians. We should start applying that to some of the police officers who are not doing what they're supposed to do.
Right, 197 North Miller. Actually, over the last few years, I've actually had the very same conversation with. That's why when Mary Ann said it was kind of interesting, because we keep coming to the stands and podium, pretty much saying the same thing, time and time again, and I'll say it just one more time. I think a part of the issue when it comes to the police department is that we tend to be, they tend to force to be reactive instead of proactive. Coming from New York City, we had PAL. I heard Mr. Dixon talk about PAL. In New York City, National Night Out is actually a police department initiative. It's where the police department goes out into the community and actually bonds with the people who live in this community. So it's a totally different type of event. I personally think that a part of the issue is that what percentage, and I'm sure I've asked this before, what percentage of police officers live in the city of Newburgh? What's the racial breakdown of the city of Newburgh police officers? That plays a huge impact as well. But the biggest thing is it's like you're fighting a war. If you're out in the battlefield and you don't have to look at and you don't identify the person that you're getting ready to gun down with your weapon, then you have no heart. You don't care about that person because you haven't identified them as actually being a human being. And so that's a part of the problem with the police officers not walking the beat or actually being out, amongst the folks, is that our small children, the only time they connect with a police officer is when they see them go into a house and drag their father out, throw them into their tank, and drive them off to prison where they don't see daddy for a while, irregardless of what daddy did to deserve it, but a child at 6 really has no room for explanation. And so we've got to start connecting with the kids at a small level so that they can actually identify that the police officer that they are getting ready to pull their weapon out at has a family, has a wife, is a human being, and we need to do the same thing in the reverse, which is that police officer needs to understand that I have a family, that I have a wife, and all of the other wonderful things. So we've got to make that human connection. If we don't become proactive, we are going to start a war in Newburgh.
Harris, HRP Life Saving Ministry, 78 William Street. I've been coming to these meetings for a little while now, and everything that I've seen so far, and although you don't necessarily say it, It seems like everything is us against them.
Right.
That's what I get. That's what I always pick up. Every time I'm at this meeting, that's what I pick up. Us against them. And I'm just going to tell you about, I'm going to like draw a scenario. I don't know if any of you have seen the movie Pulp Fiction. But in that movie, the character played by Samuel Jackson, he came to a point in his life where he had an epiphany. Something happened to him where he should have died. And it was Kenneth and John Travolta, and they should have been killed, but they weren't. Now Samuel Jackson looked at the situation, pondered it, and came up with the thought that he should have died, his life needs to change. John Travolta pushed it aside, it just happened. And what happened was, John Travolta got into a situation and he was killed because it didn't change his life. Samuel Jackson used to quote a scripture every time he was going to murder someone. And he didn't really realize what that was, what it meant. But there came a situation where he was in a diner, and he came to the realization of what it really meant. When I was younger, my mother used to quote, "Enough is enough, and too much will provoke the devil."
That's right.
Now, to me, what we're going through here right now is an epiphany. What has transpired in the city of Newburgh with this police dog situation is an epiphany for the city of Newburgh. It really is. And it behooves the city council to take note, to really consider what's going on, to listen to those who have spoken, and come to a realization that something has to be done. It's not us against them, them against us. We're all in the pot together.
That's right.
Anything that is divided will fall. Anything. I don't care how strong you think you are. If this country, this very country, if it doesn't come together at some point, it's going to fall. So it behooves us as a people, black, white, Latino, everybody, we have to live together. We have to make a change so that we can all live together, respect one another, and look out for one another so that we can stand and become a strong city of Newburgh. That's all I have to say.
City of Newburgh. I'd like to start by saying we're all here because we care. Otherwise we wouldn't be here. If we didn't care about this city, if we didn't love this city, we wouldn't be here. We're here because we see the assets. We see the beauty of the city. We see the kids. I mean, what a performance tonight. You don't see that anywhere else. I lived in Iron Curtain countries. I know what police brutality is all about. I know what it means when three people can't get together and talk. We don't want to go there. And we're not even close to that. Are there things that are happening that are wrong? Definitely, there are things that are wrong. But I live in spaces where three people are called a mob. Now, we need to get together. There's a black man today, Mr. Obama, says it's one America. We are one America. Why is America strong? Because we are every color, every religion, or no religion. We're young, we're tall, we're small, we're fat, we're slim. But we are one America, and if we don't learn to work together, every single one of us, and start showing the positive and start working towards the positive, again, it is not going to work. We must help each other. That is our duty upon this planet. Now, as far as Curtis Lewa is concerned and the Guardian Angels, I happen to know him. And what he does is formidable. He has gone into some of the worst communities in the United States, and he has gotten little kids to work with him. And because of a red hat, and I've said this before countless times, it works. They go out and they become proud of their neighborhood. We lack pride in our cities. In Newburgh, we lack pride. We need to be proud of our streets. Because if we're proud of our streets, we're not going to drop that candy down. But we can only be proud if we have somebody we trust. And somebody we believe is not going to harm us. And it doesn't matter what color you are, and it doesn't matter what religion you are. But we need somebody we can follow. And we need to know, I happen to be working on social well-being in the master plan, and it's social well-being for all of us. It is the government's duty to give us a good education. Not just for the smartest and not just for the kids who can't make it. It's for every single one of us. All of our children need to go from the same platform. And I'm asking the council tonight to open both ears, to listen to us, because every single one of us who's talking and those who aren't, we are here because we care. And we need your help to make this city a jewel once again.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, I'm the mother of late Daniel Cox. My name is Susan Cox Whitfield. I wasn't going to say anything. I was just going to sit back and listen as I used to do. But I just want to ask a couple of questions. How do the head, the chief, find his officers with no fault on my son's death when he was at 27 Carter Street, and when they called him, my grandkid's mother, who was his ex-girlfriend, told them that he was high already off of PCP. Why did he have to get tasered, dog bitten, and all of that instead of taking to the hospital when it's not even a block away? They was told that he was high. Why did he have to go through all of that? I'm asking you. You told me that you found no fault.
Please.
Oh God, that's why I didn't want to get up here and speak, because something needs to be done. I'm just going to tell you this, it's not over, and it's not going to never be over.
Left with hand on the back of the car, and the police told me that.
Excuse me.
He was handcuffed, shackled, still in the police
Please.
car.
Okay.
They never even
Ms.
booked.
Kennedy, you are the last speaker.
They never even booked.
Ms. Kennedy is the last speaker.
Never booked.
Ms. Kennedy.
Murdered my
Ms. Kennedy's last speaker.
I was not going to speak tonight, and I never lived in a community that's had these kind of problems. So this is the new learning for me tonight. What I know for sure,
Just stop. It ain't over.
if we say it's never going to be over, then it's never going to be over.
It ain't over.
Whatever we say, we create.
Thank you.
I have a family that's about as diverse as it comes. I have Latino daughter-in-law, I have a black member for my son-in-law, I have everybody, a mixed porridge in my house. So I come from a culture of diversity myself, and I feel strongly about being colorblind. I can't remember what your name was, but I do absolutely believe that we have got to come together. We can talk about a master plan, we can talk about creating an economic drive, we can talk about creating jobs, we can talk about a lot of things, but if we're burning around the edges, it isn't going to help. So we really do have to find a way for all of us to come together and work together. The black community, the Hispanic community, the white community, whatever group we are. And it isn't, I know for a fact, Dr. Martin Luther King did not teach violence. We don't solve violence by being more violent. Thank you. It never works and it never will. We have got to come to a place where we can talk from whatever. If people are doing something that they shouldn't be doing, they're breaking laws, then obviously something has to be done to stop that. You can't just ignore the fact that laws are being broken. I absolutely support that there needs to be a way to control that. I also absolutely support the fact that we can do that in a reasonable manner. And if there needs to be a civilian board to review things, then there needs to be a civilian board, and we need to act fast. I'm telling you. And I will support and do whatever I can, because I
I believe we can come together, and I would like us to drop the language of we can never come together, and it's always going to be the same. We're always going to fight the fight. There is another way, and if we want to do it, we can do it. That's what I know.
Thank you. Okay. Very, very short. The name and an address, please.
My name is Faison, City of Newburgh resident at 156 Washington Street. First and foremost, I'd like to give Heavenly Father thanks and opportunity for all of you. Well, we have a lot of situations that go on in the city of Newburgh. We got kids, nothing to do for the kids. Things are shut down, too much to do for them. And on the other hand, you have, for existence, you have the city of Newburgh, they went to my house, snatch up a couple of clothes down, injure my physical element, more worse than what it is. But hey, I'm not here to point fingers. But the truth is going to be the truth. They implying defamation of character. I'm sure we all know about that. No one knows about that. It's like I'm defying your character. I'm lying about you, about a situation that's not even true. I thought one's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. But no, here they go. They put it in the newspaper. They put them in the news. Oh, we have these guys that murder lots of stuff. No, that's like a brother. They know who has supposedly had done it, so-called Jamaican. They're not messing with them at all. I don't know if they're fair, but I know when you deal with the law and secret society, all right, everybody's going to take up and stick up with each other to cover things up. But I'd like to ask you this. Don't fear man, fear God. Whether you do the right thing, if they don't accept you, or call you this and call you that, then so be it. Because on Judgment Day, we all have to be judged accountable of what we do. I mean, now we all come in here, yes, we hurt of what goes on around here. I mean, let's just say, okay, hey, put a little pressure on the internal revenue, the internal affairs. Do your job. Because how long should this go? Even in the Torah, aka the Bible, the Quran, it all says these things will take place. Even when the United Nations formed together, and they say we have world peace, it's not going to be chaos, it's going to be pro versus con. Now, you have to decide what side you're going to be on. What will you do to make a change? What if this was your brother, your wife, your child, your loved one? How do you feel? We all know a little bit of meditation. Meditate sometimes and put yourself in a hurt one's shoes. I'm not here to point a finger, but here to say, listen, this is a cry for help. After a while, people are going to really start exercising their constitutional rights. Everybody's going to make that. Thank you.
Michael Board, 27 Grand Street. I've been going to council meetings for quite some time, and like someone mentioned here before, we seem to be doing a lot of putting out fires. One of the things that happens is, I get up here and I know that, a lot of times I'm totally ignored. I can see it on your faces. There's a lot of times when I wouldn't want to be in your place, especially tonight when there's a lot of static in the air, and I appreciate that. You must be a lot more nervous than I am when, people get mad and they scream and they shout. It's just not a pleasant situation. But I think what's been lacking every single time this has happened is that we haven't gone, a lot of times there's like a hurry to close the meeting. But let's just make this go away. Let's just be quiet and it'll go away. If we don't deal with it again, like someone else brought up. I mean, I know it's disconcerting for you to sit there and listen to this. I know it's a lot more disconcerting than it is for me to sit here, and it is disconcerting for me. I think for all of us, I think this is just, it's not pleasant. but I think that we need to hear from you. You are our city leaders. We just want to hear something, that you hear us, that you understand that yes, we might have a problem, and yes, we might have to address it. That's all. Like, let's just hear it. That's all. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm truly saddened by this latest incident that happened in Newburgh. I'd be totally much in favor of the Police Civilian Review Board. It's something we talked about a few years back, and I would really like to see the Human Rights Commission reestablished, because that's going out of effect in the city of Newburgh. I think that's something the city manager or the mayor should talk about. We knew that we'd have a lot of people here tonight. And if you're deserving of you all to come and voice your complaints, we all feel the same way. We were saddened by what happened, and then we were police chief. I can see by the expression, I think he's really upset about this also. And Michael, you're right. Sitting up here and listening to all the complaints and being upset about what happened in the other council chambers, an incident like that could easily happen in the city of Newburgh. We don't need to have that happen. We don't need, we're on the map as a wonderful city. We don't need to be put back and have another incident like that happen. We want to thank you for all being here. If you want to discuss anything with us after the meeting, we'll be here.
Well, I want to say, first of all, that I was happy that the young people could come and do the Black History piece. I think it was powerful. I think it was really fantastic. I am of the mind, for those who don't know me, that I look forward to there not being a need for Black History Month. I look forward to the time when the contributions of people of color are integrated into regular history. That's right. A month when we can, round up all of the great sacrifice and accomplishments and hold them up. So, that being said, sometimes, it's hard to sit on this side of the table, especially for me, because I am a person who's been at that mic many times. It's hard for me to see situations that I find uncomfortable and to be in a position where I can't bang on this table and say, what in the... I'm not finished. I'm not finished. What I want to say to everyone here is that it is my determination to live in a city where the humanity and the dignity of every single individual is respected. I say, if these things happen to, if the town of Newburgh police went to Bombville and two women were having an altercation, and they opened the door of their car and put a dog on them, I can't imagine. I don't know if anybody here can imagine. It's indicative of a serious problem. I advocate the Civilian Police Review Board. I advocate community policing, because as I have long said, and people have said here tonight, police for kids were heroes. They didn't get in their car and just ride around. They got out their car, they walked, they talked to families, they made connections with people. We're missing that here. And I wholeheartedly advocate for that.
You know, sometimes when I get going, people run and hide because I can get heated. I just want to say to people here that I'm committed, and the other people that I've talked to are committed to this kind of travesty not happening again. It is not okay. We hear you.
I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight, braving the cold to voice your opinions. And I want to say that I appreciate your comments, and I fully understand the outrage. I'm proud of this council in that we acted responsibly and we insisted that this officer be reassigned until this investigation is complete. He deserves the due process like anyone else. And I'm hopeful that when the investigation is complete, that this council will demand accountability. That is one of the most important parts of leadership, and it's from the bottom all the way to the top. And the buck actually stops right here at the council. So if we allow it, it will continue.
Who's investigating you?
In addition to that, I have requested on the next council work session agenda to bring up for discussion the possibility of a civilian review board. I have also put on the agenda discussion regarding getting the guardian angels into the city. Part of leadership is recognizing the problems that we face as a community and offering viable solutions to them. I'm not saying that either one of those options is the be-all and end-all of what we need in this community, but I can tell you this, what we have right now is clearly not working. I certainly hope that we can make some headway, because what is so troublesome to me is that when we have a couple of bad apples, we malign the entire police department, and that is so wrong because we have got some tremendous officers that take it on the chin because certain ones are allowed certain freedoms and there is no accountability. And I hate to see the entire police officer maligned for that reason. They have a tough job, they have a lot to put up with, but we have to have parameters. Once again, I thank everyone for coming tonight.
Those of you who know me well know that my heart is with the youth. That's what brought me here. That's why I stay here. On days when I wonder, why am I sitting like tonight? But I know why I'm here tonight. Taking a step here from my friend Marge. Again, I had a student last year, in the beginning of the year, that's when we talked about African American History Month. She said, every month should be African American History Month. And I said to her, every day can be African American History Month and day. But my question to you is, why? And she came back at me divisively and said, because of what your people did to my people. And I said, my people, they were still squashing grapes in Italy when they were doing what they did to your people. That girl is in my class again this year. We spent a lot of time last year going over just talking and talking and talking about the interracial and all being the same people and working together. She is now very, very close to my heart. She's been there for a long time. Let's not forget tonight the youth that was here, because that's why we're here. We want to bring them together. I actually made the phone call to the city manager because I had the newspaper open on Friday with my community, and we discussed this issue. And we just discussed it honestly and truthfully. And after that, I made the call to the city manager that for the time being, until things were done, due process, this officer needs to be off the street for our citizens' sake and for his sake. And I ask that now, that it not be a possibility of a civilian review board, but it be a reality. And I'll stay after here as long as you need and talk to you, and let's do it. Let's do it. Thank you.
I want to end it tonight by just letting this audience know that we do hear the comments that come to this microphone, and there is an uneasiness. What there is just that everybody get a chance to speak their mind fairly and have the respect for everyone else. I won't close the meeting. I'll keep a meeting going for as long as is the last person. If people know how long I've been sitting at this table doing this job, they know we've run way late into the night. So I will do that. But we just want to make sure that everybody gets the respect that they deserve. That's the only thing, because then it's not fair to other people that have come. There have been very, very good comments here tonight. We hear them. We have been paying attention on how to address